Ever wondered what really keeps a business running from day to day? It's not just about making a profit. Today we're going to talk about something called working capital, and you'll see why it's basically the fuel that keeps the entire business engine going.
So let's start with a really powerful way to think about this. Just imagine your business is a car, and you're on a long road trip across a desert. Well, your working capital? That's the fuel in your tank. Without it, you're not going anywhere. It really is that simple.
But here's where it gets interesting. It's not just about making sure the tank isn't empty. Look at the left side. Yeah, if you have too little fuel, your business just stalls out. That's obvious. But check out the problem on the right. If you're carrying way too much fuel, all that extra weight is just slowing you down. You're not being as fast or as efficient as you could.
So, to manage this fuel the right way, first we've got to know what it actually is. Let's nail down a clear definition.
Okay, so here's the textbook definition. Working capital is the amount of liquid assets a company has ready to go. And liquid is just a fancy way of saying cash or stuff you can turn into cash, like right now. This is the money you use for the day-to-day grind, paying the bills, handling those out-of-the-blue emergencies, and of course, investing in your next big idea.
And for a new company? Man, this is absolutely everything. For a startup that isn't even profitable yet, working capital isn't about getting ahead. It's literally the difference between stalling out on the side of the road and just surviving long enough to see the finish line.
All right, so you're running low on fuel. What do? Let's talk about how a business can find its own version of a gas station and top up the tank. You've basically got two main paths you can take. You can go for external funding, which usually means selling a small piece of your company, that's called equity, to investors in exchange for cash. Or you can focus on organic growth. That's all about getting smarter and more efficient on the inside so you can hold on to more of the cash you're already making.
And this slide breaks down that organic, fuel-efficient route perfectly. First up, lower your expenses. Pretty straightforward, right? Second, you can refinance your debt. Maybe you can stretch out a loan to lower your monthly payments. And third, and this one is pretty clever, you can optimize your cash cycle. That just means you work to get your customers to pay you faster while you take just a little bit longer to pay your own suppliers.
Okay, so you've got fuel in the tank. Awesome. Now for the really hard part. The true test for any driver, for any business owner, is figuring out how to use that fuel wisely while you're actually on the move.
Every single day, a business is trying to balance these three things that are constantly pulling in different directions. You need liquidity. That's just having enough cash for today's bills. You need a safety net, a rainy day fund for when things go wrong. And you need to think about growth, spending money to expand and stay ahead of your competitors.
But here's the danger of playing it too safe. If you just let all your cash sit in a bank account, you might miss a golden opportunity. While you're sitting there, your competitor takes a risk, builds that new factory, and grabs all the new customers. You're safe, sure, but you're also being left in the dust.
But on the flip side, you've got the huge risk of growing too fast. If you pour every last penny into expansion and then, bam, the economy slows down, you could find yourself insolvent. And that's a terrifying word. It means you can't even make payroll. You've run out of fuel while trying to go 100 miles an hour.
So, we've talked a lot about the theory. Now, let's put it into practice. Let's see how this all works in a real-world scenario with a quick knowledge check. Okay, check this out. Let's say a company brings in $100,000 in cash every single month. Their fixed bills, things like rent and salaries, add up to $50,000. So, what's the absolute maximum they should even think about spending on a new growth project this month? Just take a second and think about it.
Let's walk through it together. It's actually pretty simple. You start with the positive cash flow, the money that came in the door. That's a plus $100,000. Then you subtract the money that has to go out to keep the lights on. That's a minus $50,000. What's left over is what you have to work with.
And there it is, $50,000. That's your excess working capital. That is the fuel you have left in the tank this month to put towards your safety net, towards growth, towards anything else. That's the number that forces you to make those tough strategic choices.
So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Understanding your working capital is just like knowing exactly how much fuel you have in your tank. And once you have that critical piece of information, well, the only question left is, where is your journey going to take you?